Computer. Lights.
Morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Now the ring camera is way over bright. Let's see here. And I'm going to change my power line settings because, there we go, at 50 hertz, the warp core back there becomes really weird. So we'll apply for 60 hertz. There we go. Coloration looks good. Best we can do with what we've got. All right. Alrighty, guys. We got to get right to work here. We don't have a lot of time. And today is going to be a tough day because what we have today is a page that is most certainly uh, complicated. There's a lot of movement, there's a lot of things going on. Um, Characters are shuffling about, doing things. So we've got to go through and kind of work with. We're going to be moving the maquettes a lot and things like that. So this is one of those times where it's like, well, no matter what we do here, we're going to have to kind of work this problem. So we're going to move the maquettes around. We're going to get kind of the things going, but that means we've got a lot to do. For those of you who didn't catch up with yesterday, um, I'm pretty pleased with where we are. Um, Page 1 looks really solid and is ready to go. And so here's page 1 already set up and ready to go. I'm really pleased mostly with the fact that I just rendered the Polaris straight as she was, and she looks really solid, and which is good because that's a big ship, and you need to kind of get the feel that that's a big ship. You know what I mean? I really kind of want to give that impression that it's a big ship. So anyway, okay. Let's see here. All last week, we worked on this guy right here, um, which is my sort of general purpose vehicle. And over the weekend, I just went ahead and just really decked it out. And this model is intense. The legs all fold correctly. They're all set for their proper parameters and stuff like that. So it's a very intense model. And this particular guy here is decked out in Transport Command colors. So that's the stripes that you see on it, and the letters, things like that on its tails. So Transport Command takes people from point A to point B. So right now, Transport Command is sort of doing that. Hello, Brent. So just giving kind of an update on where we are. I did finish all the way through to page 4, um, putting in text bubbles. And one of the things that I kind of want to talk about is Inter Astra. I think it's probably really going to end up being Ad Astra, but that's stealing literally from NASA. What book? I mean, There's no possible way that I could have finished all 12 pages, but I did get all 4 of the first pages in. So page 1's in, 2, 3, and 4 are all in. Now we're going to work on page 5 today. So, or it's actually page 6, page 5. Because yesterday we were on the first 4 pages done, and somehow I had done 8 last night. So I was going to revise sort of the way that I talk about using the maquettes and stuff like that. The way that these things cut down time is not necessarily in the individual pages. So, for example, page 6 is going to take us all day, and probably won't be ready to go before the show ends, because it's just full of movement and things going on and happenings and da 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 da. The thing about using the maquettes is that page 1 or page 2 through 4 could be done rapid fire, like literally in like 2 hours. So 2 through 4 took 2 hours. Page 6 is going to take like 3. Then pages 7 through 9 are going to be really quick. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way this works. Because it's all just 2 people. Most comics, most stories are person A and person B talking back and forth. So not that big of a deal. Okay, what do we think about Ad Astra? Ad Astra is the sort of Latin phrase that NASA uses, which means to the stars or for the stars. Because in Latin, apparently, that's the same thing. Who knew? So Ad Astra is a phrase, but I feel like I'm stealing Ad Astra's phrase from NASA, which could, in storyline, make sense. If you sort of are implying that the Unity space program, yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be just fine. Ad Astra would be, but it might also show like we are, we're the Unity space program is a direct descendant of NASA. So I think I'm going to go with Ad Astra. I had Inter Astra before, but that's too complicated. It's difficult to say. It doesn't roll off the tongue. And I thought about Semper Astra, like Ever Stars, or Everlasting Stars, which would be kind of cool. But being that it's kind of close to Semper Fi, I feel like that was kind of stealing Marines. And if you're going to give a legacy feel, I'm feeling more like Starfleet and less like the Colonial Marines. So there's that. I feel like the Marines on my ship are the Colonial Marines, but I feel like the Navy is Starfleet. Okay. Other thing really to mention here is the Polaris needs to be mapped at some point, but doesn't need to be mapped by this comic because we only have 3 shots of the Polaris tops, and we can just use the 3D model that hasn't been mapped to do that job, which is fine by me. So that's where we are. Let's go on ahead and start with this is page 5. We need page 6. Because if I mess that up, I'm going to be really hating life on this one. Page 6. We set up a new raster layer and call it ink. And then we set up a new raster layer and we call this one onion skin. We fill this one with white. And bring it to about 75% and make sure that ink and onion skin have been swapped. And then we save. The page is rigged and ready to go. Go to work. We'll see you in a bit. Okay. Now here's where things get complicated. The new system here, the scene involves Navin's hollow suitcase, which is right here, and you'll notice that it looks like a uniform. It's got the same sort of uniform thing, and that says Escalando, and this is just a number, and I have it bolted to the chair. So that's where we're going to be when Navin says, "Hey, will you do the thing with the thing?" And his eyes have gone completely bonkers because they don't point to the eye target. So we're just going to take out his eye target completely and move his right eye back to where it belongs, which probably comes from parameters? I don't know. Is it into the parameter controls? Where is that? Where is his eye going? What are you people doing here? It looks like nothing's set. Oh, yeah, it's forward. Okay, we're good. I'm going to twist his head and move it towards looking at her. Bend side by side like so. And then let's get his eyes squared away. And give him a smile. He's smiling. Now he just looks creepy. Eyes side to side. And then up, down. Make him look up at her face. Oh, wait. Only looks creepy because she's not doing anything. And part of the problem, of course, is that his head is tilted down. We really should never tilt our heads down like this and smile. It looks really creepy. So we're going to undo that and take his head and we're going to bend it like so. So he's looking directly at her, lined up. So let's bend it down just a little like so, and twist, and we're good. Okay, so let's fix those eyes, pose controls. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Okay, we're going to do eyes up, down, down. So he's looking at her directly. Now, okay, got him squared away. He's going to need to put his arm forward. His arm's stuck in the front back. Twist here. And his pocket's gone too high again. I'll bring his pocket down like so and bring it out. There we go. So though this is going to take forever, it's not going to take as much forever as we think. I just know that all of the stuff in this particular scene is specialized. So I'm going to bring his arm up and twist like so, because he's getting ready to ask her if she will please now for her, we're going to put her in a pose that fits and belabors the idea of there's a sitting poses. Let's go into sitting poses here. All right, because I think we're kind of looking more like this. She's sitting forward. Excuse me, we're hitting that time of the year where I'm going to start coughing and hacking because all the flowers are going to think, oh, wait a minute. Let's rotate her around. Not the most ladylike position, but it's really hard to get out of these chairs. So there's no other way. She's going to have to do this and sit forward to some degree. I don't think we need her seatbelt anymore, except to indicate that she has one. But she's going to be fussing with it at this point. So I'm actually going to move it to here. I don't know which scale goes the right direction here. This is the scale I want to. Okay, so we're going to move and bend and twist. We're just going to put her arm in the position of she's pulling the seatbelt off here. Right, we're just going to do this. Not twist that much, but side to side. Here we go. Put the bend up just a little bit there. Let's talk about where our hand position should be. Hands. We're looking at right hand. Most appropriate thing would be this. And we'll zoom in again on her hand just to make sure. If we do side to side, she's kind of doing something like this. We can get her hand in the right position here. There we go. And we'll just move this into place so that it's somewhat visible, because she's disconnecting it and she's undoing it and stuff like that. But I do want to put on her chest. That way when I move her back, which is what I'm about to do, we don't have to, it'll stay with her. Okay, so we're going to move her back because she's now sitting forward in the chair. And we're going to rotate a little bit like so. Her legs don't need to be splayed quite so far apart. And twist them a little too, because she's just sitting forward, right? I think I borked her somehow. I'm not sure how I got quite so rotated over, but that's all right. We'll get her straightened out here. Now, I'm not going to be showing all of her body, so I don't need to necessarily put her in the right position, but let me tell you something that I tend to do whenever I'm working with the maquettes. The body interacts with the environment in a lot of ways. So a lot of times I will, even though I'm not going to be rendering her feet, I'm not going to be putting her feet in the shot. We're not going to even see her feet in this shot. Even though that's the case, I'm going to move her feet correctly because I will want, you don't know where, if you put her leg in the wrong place, you don't care about the legs, you don't care about where they're going, then the muscles maybe up here will look wrong, or the twist will be weird, or something will go weird on the maquette. So I go on ahead and position the character as if she were really getting herself out of this chair, completely getting herself out of the chair, because it works a whole lot better. Let's get her eye target and move it to Navin. Right. She looks so amused. I'm just making sure she's looking at one eye. Okay, now we'll bend her head forward as people often do. And let's get her neck because she needs to twist her neck too to look at him at this point in time. And she needs to bend forward because she's getting out of her chair, right? So you think about how we get out of our chair, we lean forward, put our legs to either side, lean forward, snap the buckle to undo the buckles. And in fact, I'm just going to draw one of these buckles retreating back here and then one retreating back there and stuff like that. The idea being, once again, that we're reinforcing the fact that we're not going to, we're, in fact, this scene, looking at where we are, we're going to be about here, it looks like, on this shot. But again, I want him to not be moving. I'm going to move his leg out though. Like, it is kind of weird looking that his leg doesn't seem to be that way. Okay, so we're going to bend his leg, or bend his head forward and twist it because he's looking at her, right? And she says, "This is our stop." Right? She's smiling. This is our stop. And this will be the first time we'll be able to see his briefcase behind him there. All right. I'm going to put his hands sort of in a neutral position, like he's holding out for something, but, it's kind of neutral. We'll see. I want to fix her hand, looking one more time at this. She's not clicking anything here. So let's adjust her hands so that she is actually clicking or not clicking the restraints. So I'm going to actually side to side this guy and move him there, and side to side this guy and move him out like this. And I'm going to bend this guy. Whoa. Hi, that was like a jump in time right there. Look at us. So if you're going to use maquettes, use the maquettes, right? So think about the way that we click things. She's going to have her finger on the little clicker, going clicky, right? Move it back into her hand so that it makes some logical sense. And then that's not what I wanted to do. I've got to hit the point where she's actually doing something here. So we're going to move this up and like so. Right, so she's clicking the release on the harness here. Right, so let's get her properly clicking the release on that harness. And in fact, this guy probably, her thumb, being realistic, is going to be on either this side of the harness or this side of the harness, but she's probably grabbed the harness, right? Thumb underneath the harness, pull forward, click there to release all the harness pieces. So that's probably what's going on. So, okay, let's move our camera back into position. Our camera needs to be in the correct position. I really should have used the posing camera for this because I've got an actual camera that uses the proper, because we've got a little bit of distortion going on with this focal length. So I'm going to go on ahead and hit 35 to get us out of that focal length. The frame width I can also increase or decrease to give us a little bit more space, a little bit more flat if we need to, a little bit less complication. So I'm going to bring this in, bring us out a little. Right, so we're kind of here. It's cramped quarters in there, and I want to kind of make that appear that way. So I'm going to bring that frame width, though. Can't get that frame width to go any better. So let's back out and see what we can do here. There. Kind of trying to I'm going to do 35 on both and see what happens when we get cameras at 35, 35 on the shell. Here we go. Right, here we are, kind of looking at this frame here. What we also can do is we can cheat a little, and we're going to cheat a little, right, because we want this shot. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Okay. One last thing, and this scene will be ready, or this shot will be ready. I'm going to put her arm forward as she is grabbing the front of the seat. Like so. And take her left hand, I'm going to put it into a sort of a grab, maybe more like this. It should be in alignment with the seat. She's just grabbing the seat to pull herself forward. She's getting out of the seat, so to speak. Right, so now the question really is, do we want to be here? No, because there's dialogue between the two of them, 21 and 22. So we don't actually have the script up. Let's bring the script up. Let's take a look. What 21 and 22 read. So we're on 21 and 22. Well, this is our stop. Yes, sir. Will you please? So not a lot of dialogue between the two of them there. I also kind of want to highlight this guy. So let's get in a little closer, because this is about reading the information. When you talk about reading the information of your scene, what are we looking at here? What are we trying to convey? And this is where also having maquettes is extremely useful, because I'm only going to be able to show the center of this picture here. It's across the top of the page. What do I need? Well, I need the two text bubbles. One text bubble is going to go here, and one text bubble can go here, right? But I need to show this, this, and this. Those are the important things in this scene. The other things I want to kind of show in this scene are that she's getting up and he's not. So that's important, right? So we got to kind of weigh this out. I got to be back far enough to see that she's going forward in her seat and he's not. And then I've got to get the suitcase. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen in this scene. So when positioning it, I want to show what's going on here. Not a lot going on between all the rest of this, but remember, we can't keep the whole shot. So we can be like so, right? We get a much more dynamic shot, but there's a reason why we're kind of doing this, right? I'll pull in a little closer. We could show that she's leaning forward. Let's give her something to say because her mouth's not open. Right? So we've gone from sort of a boring shot to a more dynamic shot, but we kind of needed to do that anyway. I mean, we need a more dynamic shot anyway, but so the script says, will you please? So he's already at this point in time here. So let's go on ahead and bend his arm and kind of do this and twist like so. And this is a right arm, so let's go there. And there has to be a thumbs up. That's what he's doing. I can't believe that there wouldn't be a thumbs up, so. If there isn't, we'll find something close. Yeah, can't believe there isn't a thumbs up. Okay, weird. Not a problem. I mean, I certainly can make this work. Let's go for perspective view, snag that, go here. We can grab this and do this. Bend. Like so. Right? Go for the Dutch angle. Oh, man. Hi, Ghost Hand. Welcome back. You caught on to us because we went to daylight savings time. Oh, man. I hope everything's working out for you. I know you were kind of having really weird scheduling stuff going on. I hope everything's doing well down there. This will be one of those super international shows if we get Hone on here too. Hone is somebody who's been hanging with us as well, and they are from Thailand. And so we'd have Brazil and Thailand checking in, which would be cool. There we go. So I do need to, though, with this angle, we need to be able to indicate that he's pointing here. It's going to be hard because, like, I'm not an angle that can actually catch all three things here. Like, I'm having a hard time trying to get this angle. Oh, good. Good. It's not rainy there, is it? Hone was talking about how it's super rainy in Thailand. And so I was thinking that maybe it's not rainy here. I mean, obviously it won't be rainy here for a while. It's just going to snow a lot. So what about like this, like twist his hand over. So he's like, hey, would you, like bop, bop, bop sort of thing. That might work. We got to be kind of careful because you don't want him looking like he's pointing at her. So pretty cloudy day, yeah. Should be starting to like cool down though. I mean, I think you're hitting the peak of summer right about now, getting kind of close to the peak of summer. So at least it'll start cooling down, which is, a good thing. But I have a feeling that, Brazil cooling down is kind of like Thailand cooling down. Doesn't mean that it's cool. I still think that, at some point in time, I'm just going to start this like really interesting and strange world tour. They'll be like, I'll be like, I've gone on a world tour. I'm going to this place in Thailand and this place in Brazil. And everybody will be like, that's a weird world tour. Why would you do that? And I'm like, because I got buddies there. Like, I got to go see my buddies. I'll have to take Brent with me, Okay, I'm going to bring this leg up because it looks awkward here. So I'm going to bring it up like so. And kind of get it out of the way a little there. The GS Davis World Tour will involve Brazil and Thailand. And everybody will be thinking I was the weirdest person on the planet, but that's okay. Not because there's anything wrong with Brazil and Thailand, just that that's such, weird places for someone to just randomly go, not New York, not LA. No. Why would I go there? It's boring. I don't know anybody in New York and LA. Why would I go visit people I don't know? All right. I'm feeling like we're good with this angle. Let's see what we get with a render on this one. So I'm just going to hit the render button. We'll see what happens. All the fans just turned on my PC. I am clearly pushing it a little. All right, we're waiting for the rest of the render. It takes 38 seconds, that's what it's saying. Not bad. All right, pre-poses. We are on, where's Donald? PP 06 dash frame 01. Okay, before I go anywhere else, though, I'm going to go on ahead and place this frame because I feel like I kind of want to know what it looks like, right? I kind of feel a little bit like maybe we don't know exactly how this is going to roll out. So I'll bring this in. I'll select all, and copy into page 6. And we'll shrink it down so that, whoa, hey, you've never done that before. Oh, it's because the ratio, I turned it off yesterday. Here we go. Get all used to it doing a thing. Okay, so we know that their eyes have to be above. I mean, no matter what, it's never going to be bigger than, well, I guess I don't want to say that either because it might be bigger than this, right? The square framing of this is deceptive and it's making it difficult to kind of get an idea of where everything goes. Right? Because now if we look, like here's the active center section, but here's also where the page ends. So in order for this to work, we're going to have to bring it down quite a bit. But then we end up with a limit on how far we can go width-wise because it's a full frame. So it needs to be at least this wide, right? But I feel like we're okay. If I cut just a little short like so, it should be fine. And I can probably cut about this much. I want her hand in here because I want to show that she's getting up and she's making motion. There's stuff going on in this particular frame, so we've got to make sure we've got enough of this frame going like so. Like we can come up to about here-ish, I think is about all we can do. But there, like I said, there's going to be text bubbles here and here. So knowing that, I need to keep their eyes inside the safe. These are all things that, you just kind of have to know with experience, but now I'm telling you what they are. So again, for those of you who have, not followed or don't know what's going on, this blue line is what we call a text safe. And that means that anything important inside the comic needs to be inside this blue line. This is the trim safe or the bleed. And that means that anything that you don't care about can be on the other side, but anything you care about better be on this side because this is the error of the cutter on the comic. So when it cuts the comic page, it has to have a margin of error in case the cutter cuts just a little wild or whatever. So you want to make sure if you go what we call full bleed, that means you're bleeding to the entire edge of the page and you're going off the page. And when you do that, that's okay, as long as you're okay with the fact that the artwork might be chopped. So the other rule is inside this text safe, we want to make sure that the text holds. But we also, you bleed blue lines. Like I jinxed it. I'm so sorry, man. I totally ruined your world. I apologize. Well, I say that. Truth is, I kind of like rain. I wouldn't mind some rain. So moving through, I don't have a layer check. I'm good. So the other unspoken rule is that eyes must be inside this text safe as well. Because anything where you're, your eye, the reader's eye, follows what's going on in there, goes like that. So, all right. Now that we've done that, we're going to put this underneath the onion skin, which is where it belongs. And then we can go do the other panels on here. Doing a little bit of talking while we're at it, but it's all good. So we don't have, this is the big thing. This line and this line sort of indicate the top frame zones of a comic. So we're slightly below the frame zone here. So this guy's going to take up a lot of room, but I'm also going to use the background on this particular panel. So, yeah, we're supposed to get rain Wednesday. That's going to, of course, turn to snow, which means turns to ice, which means driving is going to be so much fun. I don't even know what to say about that. Okay. Looking at my master page right here, I've got indications that say I'm supposed to indicate her getting confused in some way, because she's like, this is our stop. And he says, would you please? And she says, what? So I'm going to give her a confused look per the instructions. So let's go on ahead and take the smile off. Wipe that smile off your face. I'm going to raise her eyebrows up in question. And with her, the inner eyebrows come up in question too. That's fair. Actually, no, if the storm comes in on Thursday, I'm going nowhere because that's Star Trek night. And screw that, I'm not going anywhere. So all I need is a close-up of her looking confused, right? So these gray things, by the way, are eye shines. And I don't know why I'm having such bizarre issues with that, but okay. We're going to twist her body because she's now looking more at him. She's unbuckled now, so she doesn't need to be bend this down, bend her arm forward to here and this way, like so. And we can actually delete this cube now because it's done. Its job has been done. It is, well, it's too close. All you're doing is freaking us out. And twist. I'm going to give her we're just adjusting her down just a little bit so that she's not quite as weird and awkward because she's very awkward now. Her body's awkward. Her body language is awkward. So we're going to de-awkward her body language. She's turning towards him. That's probably better. The problem is that her eye target needs to be adjusted. And just as before, does this music always remind you of like Charlie Brown? It's just very Vince Guaraldi sort of music piece here. We're going to move her eye target to this eye because it's closer on this side. Yep, this is the finale for Discovery. And that's going to be good. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, the other thing I want to do is open her eyes because she's looking confused. What? I'm sorry, what? You get the idea. So we really want to open up her eyes. Not that much confused, though. So we're going to take the eyelids top up, like so. See how that opened up her eyes? Oh, yeah. Oh, what? So we'll go to the camera view and see if that fits. Why did the camera go the other direction? Oh, yeah. Halo, huh? I may watch Halo. We'll have to see. I never played the game, but I'm extraordinarily familiar, just like all of us, with sort of the Zeitgeist, right? Okay. I like this. This works. So we'll hit render on it. We'll push this line through. Feel like if I wasn't narrating this, I'd go faster, but you know what? It's cool. I like narrating it, and I like kind of when I talk about what I'm doing, it helps me think through what my logic is. I had the other day, Brian was joining me, and um, Brian had mentioned that he really felt like my that first page was very lifelike, and I had given them a lot of life, which is great because I feel like the maquettes I can do more expressive stuff when I don't use the maquettes, but it takes 3 times as long, and this is so freaking fast to do it this way, contrary to the obvious here right now. But I mean, really, legitimately, we're this skips pencil, and this skips um, really all copy paste. It skips penciling, and it skips all. I don't have to ink the backgrounds, and I mean, there is so much benefit to using maquettes. And I have to kind of overcome my feeling that I'm tracing, but that's okay. It's all right. We're getting there. Now, we don't need all of her body on this. We just need enough of her body to indicate that she is what? And that's it. All we need here is what? So I know I'm going to probably trim at this line there. So I'm going to bring this sort of to here. Maybe I'll trim a little lower than that. I'm looking at that kind of going, where am I trimming in? Right. So we're probably going to trim this. There will be no background on this. So I don't need to worry about the backgrounds at all. But I do need enough of her head and shoulders to give an indication she's in uniform and stuff like that. But I don't need much more than that, right? We're looking for all of the markers that make you go, oh, it's Mayrel, right? That's what we're really looking for. So we can trim to there, we can trim to there. We even can kind of trim here because we're not really looking at anything but her eyes. She's confused. What? Right. That's what we're after here. So we're able to kind of, and I can bring this up since, okay, so you never resize things that you're going to use. In the case of that first frame 1 on this page, I'm using this entire background. We're going to use the background, we're going to draw the maquettes, and then we're going to draw over the maquettes, and then we're going to lock them in and then put them on top of the maquettes. Frame 2 here, I'm not using anything from the background. So this maquette page is just going to disappear. So I don't need to worry about it. I can resize it. Okay. And then this one's easy. Right. We'll just do this. And then this is a direct render. We're just going to copy this entire shot as if it was an outside SFX shot. Okay. Yeah, I know. It's funny being back in production like this. 31 seconds. 31 seconds, no maquettes. That's funny. Um, being back in production, I've forgotten all of the things that I do as just like rote operation. I don't even think about it. Right. So take this guy and put him in. Wake up. Oh no, we're thinking so much. You know what? The more I think about it, the more I think she should be looking behind. She should be looking back. Once we come out of torpor here, we're confused. We've borked the Clip Studio. They've actually borked the whole machine. We'll wait, see if Clip Studio comes back. But boy, I've got rotating circle. That's what I got. We may have confused Clip Studio a lot. So okay, we'll go back here because I think I'm actually going to probably make her look back behind. So let's do that. Rather than have her looking at him confused, have her look behind. Because I think that's probably more accurate. Clip Studio will either crash or it won't. And if it, whatever it does, we've got this under. We've got this. We're fine. So we'll take her eye target and I'm going to move. So the eye target for the Genesis 2 male doesn't work. It's a glitch and I'm aggravated about it. So I grab there and do this. Now her eyes are completely messed up because she's legitimately looking the wrong way. So let's bend her down, bend it over, bend it at the neck, bend like so, twist up like this. Now she looks terrified though. So we're going to have to. So, how do you fix the. Let's see if you've figured it out. What in the world? Did you open everything? Did it select everything? It selected everything. That's why it freaked out. That's nice. Now it's like, why are you doing this? You just told me to open all of these. Oh gosh, this will take a week. Eating up all my memory. All right. Okay. We need to change her expression. We need to change the way she's looking, things like that. So right now, her body language reads terror. The way you do this without that is close her eyes down a little bit more, right? Because her eyebrows can stay up because she's still asking that question. But let's close her eyes down. Right. So in general, we don't typically see the tops of the iris unless we're insane. That's the only time we see the tops of our irises. So if I were to close her eyes like this, she's looking down. That's actually something that happens. When we look down, our eyelids stay relative to our eyes. And so they cover as much of the eyes as we can get, right? And so, in order to keep her from looking insane, we're going to do that. I'm actually going to lift one eyebrow in sort of thing. So we've got the ability to raise and lower her brow like so. I actually want just left up, right? So outer left up and then inner left up. Right, which I can't get because it's already up. So the inners are both up. So this is about the best I can do. What will happen is it's all right. It just needs to be close. So here's the other thing. I'm going to include the chair in this shot this time because what we now have is we have business. We have people pointing and doing things and stuff like that. And let's give her a tilt. Also tilt like so and then bend. Because people don't actually do that. That's not, even for a young person, that's not easy. So tilting, bending just a little bit. We're going to bend it in a little more like this. She can look back a little further. I'm going to do sort of this. And then we're going to grab her neck here and we're going to bring it sort of like that and bend it down as well. When people look behind them, they tilt their heads down, the chin kind of heading for their shoulder. So that's what we're going to do. She's looking behind her. That's what he just said. He's pointing behind her. And I actually may do this. There we go. This might be a better angle for this. Let's get underneath her a little more. Sort of like so. So we've still got the chair. She's looking behind. These reflection dots are really misleading on me, and they're really bothering me. And I'm going to real quickly take a quick break and go for that reflection dot. Because they're coming in as a diffuse color of this. Really kind of need to be more like that anyway. But they're also coming in on an opacity line, but they're also not coming in here. My reflections here, right? That's where they should be. And the ambient strength should be that. And that gives us a lot more of what you should be seeing there. Although, again, I'm feeling like they're still off centered. And down and up doesn't help me any. If you come up here, I'll scritch you. Come here. Come here. Come here. George, do your George thing. No, don't go over there. Go over here. You do this every time. I can't pet you over there. I'm not petting you. You can stare at me, but I'm not petting you. So looking at this shot and kind of composing it this way, this is our better thing. She's looking over her shoulder. Let's bring her shoulder down, though. No, if you want scritches, man, you got to come over here. This side. I'll give you scritches if you come up here. That's the way this works. I know you're a cat, and the whole goal here is to make me do all the things for you, but it's not happening. Okay, so she's looking over her shoulder, like so. Kind of got this set up like so. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and pre-trim it so that we're already kind of trimmed in. So we're going to keep just this part right here. Like I said, you want scritches. You know how the scritches things work. Scritches things work by you coming up right here. That's how this works. I will train you to scritch properly. People on the show love you. Goodness knows why. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just reload this guy. While we're waiting for it to figure stuff out, I'm going to go close all of these. I get to go through this entire, like, I can close this one because we're going to have to redo it anyway, right? Brian's joining us. Brian has joined us. Hello, Brian.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. I accidentally opened every single picture, and it took a long ass time. So, there's that. Now I've closed every single picture, and we're back to where we were before. Alrighty. How are you doing?
I'm awake.
It's always good. I'm sorry I didn't tell you about this. On Mondays, Geek Tank takes over my 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock slot, or 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock slot.
Okay.
And the reason is just because at some point in time, I was realizing I had something scheduled Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday night, and there was no time for my family. And so I was talking to Troy about that, and he's like, well, we could just move Geek Tank somewhere. And I said, you know what? On Mondays, usually I'm doing a Springs comic, and it only takes me an hour to do a Springs comic. So why don't we just do it on the other hour on Mondays? Which works fine until I'm on deadline like I am right now. When I'm not doing Springs comics at all, I'm kicking butt over here trying to get everything squared away and stuff. So
Got it.
So that's why I apologize. I didn't think about you showing up at, 10 o'clock on Monday and going, where the hell are you? I'm like, I'm over on Rocky Mountain Geek Tank channel, not on GS Davis channel. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
So the rest of the week is perfectly normal. Just Mondays are split right now. So, and they're split.
There's nothing normal about this week.
No, we are legitimately preparing for terror, sheer abject terror. This is frame 2. So, yes, I would like to replace it. That's really loud. I'm going to turn it down. So, anyway, how are you doing so far?
I'm awake.
That's what you just said. I got that. You're like,
there's a lot of awakeness right now.
You got your coffee. You're very awake. This looks better. The original version of that didn't look as good. So we're going to... I was saying this is a complicated page. The maquettes move a lot in this page. So this one's going to take longer than normal. But the benefit of the maquettes is still that once we get into the scenes where they just yammer at each other, and it's, Bob, then Joe, then Bob, then Joe, then Bob, then Joe. The maquettes are so much easier, and I can just breeze through a page. Because I just turn the camera left, then turn the camera right, then turn the camera left, then turn the camera right,
And then you do the hokey pokey.
And you turn yourself around. So I fixed my lighting in here. See, I look much more, normal. Here.
Nice.
Ring camera, you can see. I look much better. I've got light coming from this side and this side now, instead of just being in this like dark shadow on this side. It does mean that I have a light shining in my right eye. Bright light, but television. So there's that. Yeah. Have you invested in OBS? Do you even know how to use OBS?
I have OBS on one of my computers.
Somewhere.
I haven't used it in a long time. I should put it onto this machine at some point.
It makes sense. I was just wondering because you take up 2 spots, which is not a problem, but is a problem when we have Pepper and Colton and you and me on here. You take up 2 spots, and that's not a problem today at all.
I'll look into picking up OBS.
Yeah, it would help us a little. I'm going to move me to this spot and then move you to this spot, and that works. Look at us.
And then we can do the hokey pokey.
Hokey pokey, we just did this. Yeah. But then I can do when Brian attacks, which is this version of it. I actually, that's what it's called. In my OBS, I have a scene called When Brian Attacks, indicating that when you're on here, I have to reorganize all my windows so that you can see everything that I've got going on. So,
I'm sorry. I'm not meant to be a pain.
you are definitely meant to be a pain, my friend. But I still love you. It's still okay.
That'll work.
Alrighty. So I put this guy on top because we're going to leave him exactly as he is, just as he's rendered. I'm actually going to pull this picture in. I'll let it be like that because that helps. And then the next panel says, the next panel says a lot. Crap. I don't know if I've got room. Maybe I can bring it down to 2 panels down here. Trying to put text in here, and I'm like, ugh. Oh, hey, Brian.
Yes.
How long was the lag between you popping in here and me bringing you into the show?
It's almost instant.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I said, hey, Brian has joined the moment it went boot-oop, and you showed up on my screen. So Pepper has been saying that I've been leaving him in the torpor room over there for hours and days. And I'm like, usually I just click the button as soon as I hear the beep noise.
No, when I come in, it's I hear you talking, and then you go, "Oh, Brian's here."
Yep. Cool. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Okay, so now there needs to be 3 across here. There's nothing I can do about it. I can put her here a little bit to give a little bit of room, make it kind of look cool. And then put this right here, dead center, because you can see it up in this panel, and you can bring it here. He's a hologram, so I need him. But he lives in the suitcase, so we've got to
kind of. He lives in a pineapple under the sea.
Yep. Hey, check this page out.
Ooh, that's very nice.
The Polaris. And then I finished putting in all of the text bubbles on all of these pages. We still have to grayscale them, but coming along well. And then we want him to look sheepish. So I'm going to turn her head back and bend it up. Bring it up so she's looking directly at it, but you won't know because it won't matter because you're looking over his shoulder like so. Where he says no personal hologram fields on the landing bay. So we're just going to look over her shoulder like so. So what you working on, my friend? What you working on?
Comic.
Whoop. That's astonishing. You're working on a comic?
Yes.
What
I know, it's amazing. That does happen on occasion.
Right?
So it's just a couple of page thing that I've been toying around with.
Okay.
That I think could be kind of interesting, but it's not something I want to put all my time into right now.
Right. Makes sense.
But it's along the lines of the magical girl genre,
Oh, I love those.
and very much in the line of like Madoka Magica
Uh-huh.
in its own way.
Okay, so this is one of those moments where kind of bend his face down, bend his head down, and he looks up through his eyebrows sheepishly because he's, hey, I'm so sorry. Kind of gotta do this thing, you know. So we're adjusting his his uh, his expression to be sheepish. Right. One of the things we do is we sort of move our mouth side by side, side to side, which actually is option down here where we can do side to side, mouth side to side, like so, right? Which may or may not go over well. We'll have to see. Madoka Magica.
Like that should already be setting off alarms in your
Yeah, I was gonna
head.
say red flags right there, man. Okay. When it's always all black, you want to make sure that you're not actually like, stuck. Okay, good. We're in her hair, not in fact stuck in a wall. Sometimes I put the camera back into a wall, and apparently the render plane is like a half an inch behind the view plate plane. So you can back it up into a wall, and the wall is between those two planes, and you don't see it in the preview. And as soon as you hit render, the render plane then renders just all black because it's on the other side of the wall. And you're like, thanks.
That's kind of dumb.
Yeah, 37 seconds. One, two, three, and this is four. So we're gonna go four.
So for tabling, particularly now, what would you recommend for, like, what should I bring for the table?
Water.
Okay.
I mean, like, I know that sounds silly, but I always forget water. So you and I have been kind of having an offline discussion about this for a while.
Yeah, because we're both trying to get back into this.
And we're both super nervous, and we're both very worried.
Yeah, I'm gonna take N95 mask with me,
That's what I'm going to do too.
and I'll have hand sanitizer at my station as well.
Yeah, I think I will as well. Yeah, I don't want to risk this. COVID's nothing to screw with.
Nope.
You don't want to mess with that. This panel is going to be a panel of which I'm actually going to keep the background on. So even though I'm going to put it behind the onion skin, I'm going to remember I'm going to keep the background on it. With this one, we're just drawing her chair again, like I've been doing on the other pages. This one, we keep the full background. And then I'll just draw the chair in on this one, keep this, and then I'll put the background on that one. That's all we're going to do. Ugh, this one's getting kind of complicated. Because she says, sure. And she gets up. I'm going to have her bend over. Because a lot of headroom here. Yep. Oh my. Not as amazing as it sounds, though. Because I can get, nope. There we go. I just find something that's relatively close, and then we adjust from there. Rotate to here. And what I might be able to do is illustrate the point by having her get up and pat him on the shoulder, and then in the next panel, he's vanishing in the foreground. That could work. Excuse me. Because I have already sort of indicated where we were on indicated where what he's indicating here. And so we can go ahead and put this arm front back, bend in, bend it this way because she's heading that way. Twist. Bending is a little bit difficult here because this is really, that's her neck. So I want to bend it down, bend her head up because this is close quarters here, really close quarters. Twist. Here. Let's turn her hands side to side. There we go. So apparently we've got Halo starting soon.
Halo?
Yeah, on Paramount. So like there's a Halo TV show coming out. Who knew, huh?
I certainly didn't.
I didn't either. Okay. I'm going to reset everything so that her facial expressions are back to normal. You booped.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. And she's going to smile, full faced here. I'm going to close her eyes a little bit because she's really smiling. Like, you know, the, it's all good. Yeah. I'll do that for you. In fact, I can even squint a little here. So I'm going to actually probably not eyes closed, but rather let's go for squint. Because that's really closer to what you do. You know, you're, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm going to close her mouth. I need to grab her eye target, which went to the back seat. I'm going to have to do that. And here we go with saying things that just don't sound right. I'm going to spread her legs a little.
Oh my!
I know, we are so 12. We are so 12. Oh my God. I'm going to twist here. I just can't help it there. There we go. And then nope. Got to be careful here to not, in fact, make it look like she's, throttling him. I hate you. This is a friendly gesture. Not, in fact, the I'm throttling you because I hate you gesture. There we go. But again, with what I was saying earlier, I want to indicate that I really want to indicate that there's a physicality to my AIs. They have a physical body and they can physically interact with the universe. So I wanted a lot more. And here we go again with another phrase. I wanted a lot more touching going on between the two of these characters so that there is more of a physicality. So you know that the AIs don't just exist in holograms by themselves. You know?
Okay, enough of
Got the
me acting
perspective
like I'm
view.
4.
Hmm?
I said enough of me acting like I'm 4.
Oh yeah, no, we definitely have our we're 12 moments here in this show. The problem, of course, is that as artists, we are constantly working with body parts and anatomy, and I mean, it just never stops. You know, there's always going to be a certain amount of I'm 4 going on. All right. Wow. I think I threw the eye target way outside the ship. That won't help us any. One of the most useful things I ever learned was this button here in DAZ with the crosshairs, which allows me to recenter on whatever it is that's selected. Extraordinarily useful, right? Because now the real reason you use the eye targets is because it adjusts the eyes correctly. And when the people are really close together, your eyes start to cross, obviously, which is something you can't easily do with the side to side slider and the up and down slider. And so you end up having to manually do that elsewhere. But I also feel like her smile is not quite smiley enough. I need more smile. This looks like a pretty nominal smile, and I'm like, There we go. Okay, good.
Don't know why I'm putting teeth in a beak. I guess to make it more monstrous.
Right? Excuse me. That's like the third sneeze today.
Oh no,
I'm
it's the
allergic to you,
COVID.
Brian. I'm totally allergic to you.
It's the COVID. All 19 of them.
Right? Okay, so we'll do this. And these two frames are pretty much the same critter, except with different actions happening. So I like this very close, like intimate look of And not intimate in a sexual way, but just intimate in a friendly way. Like, she's being like, yeah, sure, bud. I'll take care of you. I got you covered, And that's kind of what she's doing here. I got you, bro.
I got you, G Dog.
Got you, G Dog. We're good. So the original script called for a lot more talking and yammering and doodly 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 doodly. And I actually kind of like she doesn't say anything. She just smiles, nods, puts her hand on his shoulder, like, I gotcha. And then he says, see you on the flip side, and then vanishes. I think that's actually probably better to cut her line out. 44 seconds. Got 2 maquettes in here. That's why. And we're really close to one of those maquettes.
What's 44 seconds?
I'm just checking the render time. How long it takes to render a frame.
Ah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Frame 5. And we're going to bring him into here.
So apparently, due to Elden Scrolls, a lot of people are discovering Berserk for the first time, and are apparently up in arms over its content.
Now?
Yeah.
We've decided to become offended now. I see. Berserk is ancient. I mean, Berserk was around a billion, trillion, zillion years ago. I don't know why people are up and up.
It's outlasted its creator. I mean,
yeah, right?
Well, and it has to deal with some very, very adult and dark themes.
Sure. I mean, it's...
And people are treating it like they're 4. It's like...
I'm like, what? You're just now figuring this out? It always irritates me about anime. I mean, this was a problem when we were doing the convention back 4 billion years ago in 1997. That people are like, oh, it's cartoons, it's comic books, which means it's safe for kids. And I'm like, no. And I mean, legitimately, comic books have not been really safe for kids either. I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
well, they've only really been safe for kids here in the States because of all of the restrictions we have on entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, we have to make sure everything is child safe. Oh my God. Think about the children. And it's like, and then you look at other countries and it's like, we're the weird ones, really.
Yeah. Except that we're now spreading, of course.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Japan's already locking down on things, and I just had to negotiate with Webtoons because they've got an extremely strict nudity policy. And I'm like, honest, the nudity in here is going to be extremely minimal. Well, it's going to be not minimal, but it's going to be not sexy. That's the entire point. The entire point is that it's normalized.
Can't have that.
Right.
And we both go quiet.
Yeah, well, we're both working. Okay, this is going to be a weird one because I'm going to have to double render this. But we can do this. We got this. Yeah, this is one of the nudity thing is one of my most aggravating things. Did I tell you the story about webtoons on that one? Because there's a funny story to this.
No.
So I want to put Bellatrix Rising on webtoons. So this is going to be, by the way, render 6A, so that I know that I have two renders in this shell. So anyway, I'm just explaining what I'm doing. I write to Webtoons because they've got a very strict nudity policy, and I said, hey, I've got non-sexual nudity, like it's the future, and in the future, people are not uptight about their bodies anymore. That's part of what I'm trying to illustrate. So they all shower together and talk about work and, and stuff like that. And they sleep in the nude and they, things like that. But it's nothing sexual. It's just all non-sexual nudity because it's a different culture. And they said, well, that's not acceptable on our platform. You have to censor it in some way. And they said you can put text bubbles on top of it, or you can steam or something like that. And I was like, gosh, it sounds like I'm endorsing hiding nipples from people, and I feel like that's exactly counter to what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And so I said, hey, let me give you an example here. I said, what if we were to take this shot from Negima? And so there was, this moment in Negima. Gosh, I'm gonna have to turn off everything. Good heavens.
I'm not sure what Negima is.
It's Ken Akimatsu, who did Love Hina. And so he, good heavens, like literally have to turn off all the little thingies. Sorry. But he did there we go. Let me do that. He did a comic called Negima, which is pretty much
Magical Teacher Negima?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
But it's full of onsen scenes. So the idea is that this 11-year-old super intelligent Doogie Howser type character is sent to this school of girls, this magical school of girls, to teach classes. And of course, it's full of things like things that are just super inappropriate, really comedically funny, but if you think too long on it, it's inappropriate, right? Like the girls are 14 to 17 in age, and every time Negima sneezes, he accidentally blows their clothes off. Sort of things like that. And you're like, but they're 14.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, wait a minute, So there's a scene where the evil witch possesses Maki, a character in there, and has her come out of the onsen and go challenge Negima to a duel. Right?
Okay.
So she's walking across the school grounds at night naked, right? So there's this scene where Mackie is standing there completely naked, and he's got her drawn full body, like a complete full body shot of her. And all he did was, he erased the nipples and he erased the pubic area. That's it. So what I said, I submitted that picture I submitted that page and said, okay, let's talk about this. Can I just erase the offending pink parts, so to speak, and leave the pages as they are? And then like I posted this and I was thinking, you know what? I should ask even more than this. Like, for example, I should give them the page that I had already done, which was between Chang and Jen. And Chang is in bed. And so, Jen is a hologram. So she pops in and, and Chang's like, I don't want to wake up. I hate life. I hate you. And she's hungover. And the whole scene is about her being hungover. Right. But she's in bed. She's naked. She sits up. You can see everything. She's sitting up in bed. She's naked. Right. So I took and erased her nipples, and then sent that too. And they replied and said, yeah, we wouldn't allow Negima to be on here, but we'd allow yours the way it is. And I was like, because the actual truth is that you can see that Ken Akimatsu has sexualized a 14-year-old girl, and you can detect that. And I was like, okay, we're going to get along fine because I'm not sexualizing anybody in my comic.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, we'll be able to handle this. And I thought that was kind of cool. So anyway, the long and the short of it is obviously that they will accept my version of nudity on their forum, their platform, but they wouldn't accept Ken Akimatsu's version, which is a professional mangaka. And that just cracks me up more than anything, I think. I am more humored by that than anything else.
That kind of saddens me too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Negima really does push the line.
There's a lot of them that really pushes the line.
Right. And some of them you're just like, oh, come on, guys. I mean, it doesn't take a lot for me to know exactly what you guys are thinking here. And I don't want to think ill of people.
Well, look at how many mangakas have been arrested recently for child
pornography. Yeah.
pornography. I mean, it's
true.
It's a big problem.
It is a problem. I understand. And I get it. But it's still. Look, he can vanish now. Look at him. He's like.
I was talking with a friend about one of the arcs in Berserk that I don't think would be able. I think he would have been arrested if he tried to do that particular arc nowadays.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's where Guts goes into this village where the kids are being kidnapped. And what you find out is that they're being turned into these monsters that are like little pixies. And he, slaughters these pixies by the dozens with every swing. And after they're killed, they revert back into their normal human form. So he's just slaughtering these kids left and right. It's like, oh my God.
Right.
And then,
well, I don't think he'd get arrested. Sadly, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Now, if the pixies if the kids got turned into concubines, he'd get arrested. And that's part of my gripe about our culture. I personally think that anything depicting slaughtering kids shouldn't be permitted, but that's going to be permitted. That'll be fine.
Well,
but if they turned into sex
like
slaves.
Well, and like the one like main bad guy of that arc
Mm-hmm.
is a 14, 13-year-old girl who's depicted like in the nude, like fully anatomically correct. It's a rough arc to get through.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it's like, holy crap.
Yep. Crap, I did it wrong. Yeah. Well, and that's back to the originally when we talked about like what was and was not appropriate. The discussion was that appropriate was whether you sexualized them.
Yeah.
If they're not sexualized, that's a different story. You know what I mean? But it kind of does, because I'm actually kind of concerned about that at some point in time too. Alex is only 15 in my story, right? So
Right.
I don't have any plans at this moment for any nude scenes with Alex, but like I said, there's non-sexual nudity in this. I mean, I can't imagine how a culture where everybody just gets in the shower together, I'm going to avoid any scenes where the 15-year-old gets in the shower too, you know. I was actually planning that at least for a while she would be like embarrassed, so that saves me for a bit, you know. She's not going to want to get in the shower with everybody else because that's not what we would do today, right?
Well, and like one of the ways you could handle that is, you know, have it so that she's covered up with like a towel with those
Right.
scenes. Like she's actually physically covered up because she's shy around all these
Right.
other people. So you can have her in there,
It could work. Yeah.
and
You're right, and that would work.
for a character it would make sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Taking a look at this page before I start inking in. It looks pretty solid. Good. Okay. I'll start inking in. And that's probably what I will do is something like that. But there will come a time where she will be comfortable again.
Yeah.
And she'll get adjusted like every human. Maybe, hopefully, it'll take her 3 years. There we go.
Yeah, hopefully.
It'll just take her 3 years to get acclimated to this universe.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking is maybe she just doesn't get comfortable until she's 18. Or maybe we just I don't know. But even then that still sounds like and feels like to me like we're copping out. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Still feel kind of like I'm not making my point on that one. I gotta decide where my lines are drawn. And legitimately, it is weird and silly that we sexualize naked people anyway, for the sake of nudity. It's like, I don't know. Seems very weird to me. Sexualizing children, and I also am kind of like, who's defective here? Also a thing I kind of wonder about. Very against the idea of blaming the victim. You were the one that was naked. That's why the bad thing happened to you. All right. Okay. And the suit's not that form-fitting. All right. Pocket. It could, but that wouldn't make any sense either. Brent saying it could be a societal thing. We don't allow kids to be naked until they're 18. And I was saying it could, but that wouldn't then fit either with the society. I mean, that'd be kind of like saying, here in America, we don't allow kids to eat with the adults until they're 18. So we put them in another room. It would be awkward and strange. I mean, you could see a culture thing. Oh no, back to work. See you tomorrow, Brent.
Or the other side, which is something we actually do, which is we're allowed to send our kids off to go die in war, but they aren't allowed to drink.
Right.
It's like, here, go die for us. But that alcohol, oh, that's bad for you.
Yep, that is a rough one. And that one is an awkward law thing. It's like all of the laws. You were talking about the children earlier. It's not really think of the children. It's a specific section of our culture is freaked out about nudity. And so they use children as the excuse
for their own
Tamp
discomfort
down on all media so that everybody else is forced to follow their cultural norm that they have invented. And then they can call you a pedophile if you fight against it,
Yeah.
They can then freak you out because no matter what, being called a pedophile is enough to make you stop talking. Because you're like, whoa, what? Wait, what? It makes you stutter and stop and think. So they win the argument by freaking you out, It's a frustrating thing. I had a discussion once on a forum about breast size. And was trying to say that, it's actually okay to have small breasted people because women have breast sizes of different sizes in different shapes. And they retaliated with, "What are you, a pedophile?" sort of things. And I'm like, because I'm talking about A cups or B cups? I mean, that's like a normal human female size.
Yeah.
And because me as a male, that's the size of breast that I am attracted to. My 45-year-old wife has breasts that size. She's 45,
Yeah.
But someone had decided to get upset about the fact that I was complaining about everybody always having quadruple D breasts on everything. And I was like, hey, it doesn't always have to be this way, and kind of reinforces to women with smaller chests that they are not as good or whatever. And the response was, "What are you, a pedophile?" It's like, no. But why would you go there? Easy way to stop
stop
the
the
argument.
Yep. To stop the conversation from making them feel things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just frustrates me. There's a lot of stuff, especially about sex, that has been legislated by one particular religious group. And it's very aggravating because they don't accept that they have been manipulating culture. They won't accept that. And then they get very mad when atheistic groups or secular groups fight against them. They say, "Why are you fighting us? We don't, we have freedom
We're
too.
the good guys."
Right. And
we're
and it's
under
like,
attack.
Yeah. And it's like, you don't realize how much you manipulate and control our culture to fit your norms. And it's,
well, no, they know. They just don't like being called out on it.
right. And it's frustrating because I don't mind if people have a problem with nudity. That's okay. You can not be naked. That's fine. I mind if you say I have to have a problem with nudity. Then it's an issue. Definitely one of my hot button topics, as you might notice.
Nah.
And I know, Brian, you are of all people, like one of my friends who's actually in the same boat with me.
Yeah.
Because you're also more comfortable with artwork that involves nudity. You're not the stuck up kind.
Well, I think as a society, we're so afraid of sex that it actually causes us more problems.
I think so too. I
We've had
absolutely
many
agree.
discussions about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think of all of the things, one of the reasons why I think it's why my culture here is open about it is because in their world, they came to the conclusion at some point in time that all this is doing is giving us bad body image. It's making us feel bad about our bodies. It's making us feel bad about who we are, yada, yada, yada. We need to stop.
Yeah.
And that's my perception, belief of how this all went down in the world here. I also think that they were all stuck in close quarters for a long time. And at some point, when you're really stuck close together for a long time, it's so hard to maintain a don't be naked around people thing. I mean, just thinking about the way my household runs, my kid runs around this household all the time naked, something I'm still trying to get him to do or stop doing. in public because I'm afraid he's going to go to somebody else's house and wee. Be like, well, I have to go get my kid now.
And there he goes.
Yep. I mean, I'm trying really hard to not give him a complex, but on the same token, I have to tell him, yeah, please don't go over to your girlfriend's house and just strip off all of your clothes there because it's, socially acceptable in this household. Because I think her dad will probably freak out. Odds are good.
Maybe. Just maybe.
Maybe. And that's a hard one when it's, but dad, you have been saying this entire time that nudity is okay. Yes. But there are exceptions.
Yes,
to this
but.
rule. Yeah. There are kind of exceptions here. We got to kind of go work with here. Doesn't help any that as my kid becomes a teenager, it's more of a wielding my words against me and less of a genuine I don't understand. But dad, you once said, yeah, I know. You just want me to admit that I was wrong. There we go. I love my kid. He's a pest, but I love him. It's like George. I love George. He's a pest too, but I love him. I hope Honey catches on somewhere along the line here. I'm worried about Honey because Honey doesn't live here. And so Honey lives in Thailand, and I'm not sure if Thailand has daylight savings time. So my show just changed times on them. And I feel like that would be bad. Oh man, we're almost out of time. That's all right. I'll finish this page today. I just won't finish it online. And then tonight's job is going to be, oh, hey, you going to come to the drawing club tonight?
I'm going to try. I'm trying to get out more and not be a hermit.
Yeah, hermit.
As much as I am.
Yeah, hermit. Yeah, David had said last week that he wasn't drawing anymore. And I don't know what that meant. And it worries me. I'm worried that something bad has occurred and he no longer wishes to draw. And that's sad. I mean, I can't imagine what my life would be if I didn't draw. But I mean, I guess there are people who quit drawing all the time. I hope he's okay,
Well, and he's also had a lot of anxieties with his art, I guess is the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
Like he feels he isn't very good, and the truth is he's excellent.
He is. He's really good. And he won't listen because his imposter syndrome chews on him. And that's really sucky. And I know his imposter syndrome, and he's dramatic. So even when you do try to get him to listen, he won't. And it's difficult. But I hope he didn't give up. I really hope he didn't give up. The problem is he draws a style that I don't appreciate because of what we just talked about, because he draws quadruple breasted women. That's what he's always drawn. And it's cool. He can do that. But feedback from me is, usually somewhat muted because I'm off put by the content, not the technical, and that's difficult.
Yeah. No, I get you.
I mean, it's kind of like sometimes you do furries, and I've got no interest in furries at all. And so when you do them, I'm like, hey, that's great. But I've got like nothing else I can say.
Yeah,
Furries aren't
because
my thing. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
I don't have anything to say. But it doesn't mean your work is bad. It doesn't mean it's a bad piece or anything like that. And that's the thing that bothers me is I'm worried that he's misinterpreting, feedback that I didn't give or something as, dismay. There we go. All of the buckles are coming loose. This is kind of fun, actually. I'm like drawing all these buckles going, wee!
all the buckles, they're going everywhere.
Yeah, this is fun. This is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the heck out of this. Clack,
Well,
clack, clack.
and like being a furry artist, like that has its own set of fights. Like you have to really kind of develop a very tough skin
Yeah.
because when you're dealing with people outside of that community, they get very, very mean with their comments because
Yeah.
it's not norm, and they're
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
uncomfortable and off put by it.
I can see that.
It's like the joke that you see online constantly is furries. It's everyone's problem.
Right. Is that because of the people who dress in furries? Do we think? Is that what's causing that?
Mm, like the hatred, maybe a little bit of that, and maybe a little bit of discomfort because it's crossing the uncanny valley for some people.
I could see that. So I could see that. I'm going to have to go here shortly because we need to.
Yeah, it's already 11:05, and don't you
It's
have to do a walk?
11:05. My lights are about to change. So, but I've come a long way with this particular shot. I'm actually pretty pleased with it. Looks pretty cool. Her unbuckling the buckles seems to have looked pretty good. It'd be fine. So, yeah, it's time for me to go for my walk with Alex. So, anyway, go ahead and go back to my monitor, ring camera, and come back here and place myself here with my now kind of bluish light, which sits over here. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, Brian. You can join me again tomorrow. We'll do Watercolor Wednesday, but I don't think I'll be doing watercolors. I'll be continuing on with this. I might do cell painting tomorrow. We'll have to see because I've been painting up cells while we're at it. I got some plastic protectors coming in tomorrow, which will help do stuff. But yeah. Anyway, so thanks for joining me, Brent. Thanks for joining me, Ghost Hand. It was good to see you for the short time, and I know that you had a break today, and I hope to see you again. Hone, I hope you're out there somewhere. And Donald, I hope you're out there somewhere. Hope you guys are okay. And Brian, thanks for joining me. And
You're
I will
welcome.
see you later, either tomorrow or later. I'll see you tonight, probably. Odds
Yeah.
are good. And for everyone else, keep your eyes on the stars. Goodbye.
Bye.
Computer, good night.